Job Center, UK, wants me to log all my activity for looking for a job. No problem. Around 2019 I was made redundant. I did some MC at that job too. And I was on benefits. I would log what jobs I have applied for once a week. Usually it was applied for 10 jobs. Worked on my CV, etc. But at the routine meeting at the job center, advisor, sigh. I've been told to tell you. Your activity tracker needs to be more detailed. I know you are already doing this. But it needs to be more detailed, otherwise you're getting sanctioned. Sorry. So I said, okay, how detailed do you want it? Advisor. As detailed as you can. At this point I figured out how to do MC on this and said, okay, I'll make it as detailed as I can. Quote. Q getting home and doing my usual stuff. Every 10 minutes I was on the portal writing about what I was doing in the previous 10 minutes to look for a job as detailed as I can. D. A week later, and possibly many entries later, my advisor wrote to me on the portal, please can you stop spamming the portal with updates? So I replied, I was only following what you instructed me to do to give you all as much detail as I can about how I was looking for a job. So I kept doing the entires every 10 minutes. At this point I was basically lying because doing an update every 10 minutes was taking up most of my job search time. Lol. 10 entries later the advisor replied with, you just need to do one entry, me. Okay. Quote. So for the next week once a day I was writing a 3,000-word essay about what I was doing to look for a job. I know this was stupid, but I was having too much fun annoying the job center. After them receiving 7 by 3,000-word essays they called me in and said I just need to tell them how many jobs I've applied for and a few words on what else I've done. Which was what I was doing beforehand. So I went back to how I was already operating and they never told me to do anything else or extra. Again lol. TLDR. Job Center told me to be detailed on my job search reports, so I was sending a report every 10 mjns. After they told me to stop and just do a singular entry, I started to write a 3,000-word essay a day. After a week of that they told me to go back to how I was operating. Lol. I was on benefits once and all they wanted was job applied to and a status. Since most jobs were online, it was easy to copy and paste both the "we received your application" and the infamous "thanks but no thanks" messages. A couple weeks required a third entry. Completed interview with Company X. Of course it was triple, but only for the week, as we had to apply to 3 positions. Here in Louisiana, we had to submit where we applied, the date, and contact info so unemployment could double-check. People complained bitterly about this. And there was a rather large spreadsheet going round listing places that were not hiring, but happy to accept applications. Because this was during the pandemic, and unless you were working in a hospital, you were probably unemployed. Failure to apply meant losing benefits, which were $247 a week maximum. I love this. It reminds me of when a boss tells you to start logging everything and then complains when productivity drops to around 510% of what it was before. And then you explain that most of the time is spent writing reports instead of doing the work. Never piss off a person with time on their hands. I was job hunting and had to come for in-person meetings at the job center once per week. I missed one because I went to a job interview. I told them before I went to the interview, but they said I would still have to come to my meeting. Missing my meeting for a job interview still counted as one of my 3 strikes. Obviously I skipped the meeting and went for the job interview. I would like to say I got the job, but unfortunately not. I guess the meetings are more important than job interviews in their eyes. My advisor was specific with what I needed to include each job applied for. How often I did a job search, whether I went, called in person, and any and all follow-up to applications, plus dates, at least for the applications and follow-up stuff. Not hard to follow that. Easy to understand. They tried asking me to provide proof of all this as well. But unless it was online or in writing, that's not really possible. Plus you couldn't prove if I took a screenshot of a job search and actually searched for a job or not. So, they stopped asking for proof of anything entirely because they had so many complaints about people being sanctioned for not being able to provide proof that they dropped a CV off at a store or received a phone call in reply to an application. They decided it was just easier to drop the proof requirement entirely instead of only applying it to certain things. The JC is a joke. I was unemployed for a while a few years back. 6 months in, I was told I had to attend the local JC 3 times a week to help with my job searching. I told them no, it's not worth the time or fuel required to get to the center. They replied by saying they would sanction me. I told them go ahead, it's not worth the £6 a fortnight that you give me. I receive IIB every 4 weeks. When receiving JSA, it was only topped up to what I would get from JSA. Not any extra. After checking, my advisor changed my attendance to once every month instead, as he said, "You're clearly not trying to freeload on benefits, it's not worth your time to come every 2 weeks. You should have also sent it via fax. All of it." Bring their fax machine to its knees, rolling on the floor laughing. That's the job center for ya. No matter what you do, it's not right. They claim to not have targets for how many people they push into total destitution. But the chart on the manager's wall tells a different story. F the Tories. And F the JOB Center. I mean, you could have just filled it in while you were waiting to be seen. That's what I used to do. Same 3 things every week and they never cared. What I did looked in paper. What happened? No jobs. Outcome will look again next week. Must be nice to have an advisor who checks up on you regularly. I told them I'd applied for male escort, adult actor jobs and they didn't bat an eyelid at the entry. For weeks after that, I'd always make up an outlandish job search entry like astronaut or nuclear physicist, just to see if they'd eventually catch on and ask me about it. That was 3 years ago. And I'm still adding glorious entries like that. Maybe they just think I'm hilarious and look forward to my bizarre entries in their bleak days. Unemployed, bored, with nothing but time, and they didn't expect this? Every time I imagine working at the unemployment office, I feel like, I don't know if I want to deal with this kind of stuff. Those poor bastards. XD. Going from one extreme to another. Little info to too much. When they were just asking for somewhere in between. Lol, it is malicious compliance though. I'll give you that. You know this is standard, right? That we all have to do it. Not sure why you are making it difficult for everyone. Once I had to go to Job Center to troubleshoot the delay in my benefit. What all was said and done. The gut said it should be okay and he would verify it afterward. I asked, "Are you betting your life on this?" He went silent and decided to verify on the spot. Shite. So, some employer is going to get you, eventually? Imagine being on benefits and having the balls to cue malicious compliance to the people helping you. You really are a loser. Ah yes, proudly sitting at home pretending to job hunt so you can leech off taxpayers' funds.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.